I am in so much pain this morning. Everywhere. I am hooked up to the TENS unit right now, which I've been hooked up to that since about 3 a.m. But on the brighter side, I had lots of very interesting dreams. And in my last dream, I got 100% lucidity. It was great. I'm gonna do my best to remember the dreams that I've been having, because I've been dreaming for hours and it's now fairly late in the morning because I slept in pretty late. Anyway, so dreams. I first started out, I was excuse me, camping in my car. I was driving this huge black pickup, and there was a bunch of cans rattling around on the floor of it, and there was even 2 wine bottles, and that was really strange because I don't drink. And I pulled into someone's yard because I was trying to, it felt like camping in your car was illegal, so I had to hide it somehow. And so I thought, oh, there's lots of cars parked in this yard, so I'm just gonna park at this person's house. Dream logic. And so I did, and then I was sleeping, and eventually someone came out of the house and they're like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing, just leaving, that's all, bye. And so I drove down this big hill, and apparently I was on the coast. And I drove down to the bayfront where there was these very, very small apartments, and they were minuscule. And my father lived there, and it was kind of devastating after I woke up, because in the dream this had long since passed, but my mother had passed away from esophageal cancer. But my father was pretty elderly in this dream, and he was living on the coast by himself, and I just went to go visit him and hang out for for a couple of days. And after, oh man, I think I'm losing my voice. Uh-oh. Dang it, I must journal this. This is so good. So my father went to bed, and I thought, oh, he can't see these bottles. And then I was gonna go get some dishes out of the dishwasher, and I opened up the dishwasher, and there were all my cans and bottles, and I was like, oh shit, there's those 2 wine bottles. If he sees those, he's gonna think that I'm drinking, and I've been sober for years. And I got all freaked out about it. And so I slammed that shut, and I just kind of blocked him from seeing the dishwasher. And anytime that he needed a cup or a spoon or something, I was like, allow me to get it for you, dear elderly father. Let me get it for you. And so that went on for a little while. Then he ended up going to bed, and then my older brother showed up, and we were kind of teasing each other and just doing brother-sister stuff, and we even wrestled like we used to do when we were kids. And then I didn't feel very well in this dream, so we started rifling through the drawers for some cough drops, and then we found some bags of candy, and we started talking about our grandfather, and we're like, oh my gosh, do you remember walking to town and getting these with Grandpa? And we just talked about my grandpa, which he had passed away several years ago in real waking life. And so that was kind of sweet. And then from there, trying to remember where that dream went. I may remember where I went after that portion of that dream later, but the next dream I remember having, I was at my childhood home. Oh, okay. All right, it's coming to me. So after that, we went to. I was in, like, I was somewhere where we were watching a really old television. Well, not really old. It's like from the 90s. We were watching an old, crappy early 90s television set, and we were watching this horse field, and I recognized it as my neighbor's horse field. And in the background of the horse field and the horses we were watching, we could see my old childhood home. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I leaned closer and closer until I leaned so close that I went through the TV, and I was inside in that scene. And so I was standing in the neighbor's horse field and looking at the horses, and talking to the same people that I had just been talking to about the TV we were watching. And I was like, hang on a second, I really need to go look at this. And I climb over the fence, and I'm in my childhood backyard, and I have this old creaky wooden swing set that my father assembled for me after begging for months and months and months. I loved the shit out of that swing set. I actually, when I was a little kid in real waking life, I made a workout system for it. I got various buckets, and I filled it with rocks, different levels of rocks. Like I had a very, very heavy bucket, kind of light bucket, and I would tie a rope to the bucket handle, sling it over the monkey bar rung, and then I'd tie a stick to it, and I would use it as what I now know as a lat pull down. I would also practice doing push-ups, and I did some other made-up workouts, and I was like 8. So there was some remnants of that there, which reminded me of that memory in the dream, so that was pretty cool. And so I'm on top of the swing set, and then I noticed that there is a hawk, and there's like this hawk perch, a purpose-built hawk perch in the middle of the backyard, and it looks as if it had just been mowed. The grass is short and freshly cut, and the hawk is plotting on my cats. And I'm like, well, why is there the hawk perch out here? And so the hawk flies off of it, and my brother appears, and he moves the hawk perch and puts it way out in the field. And then he said, I set a trap for the hawk. And I look at it, and instead of this wooden purpose-built perch, it is now, there's a big glass jar with a fishing string across in the middle of it, and this like weird spiky nut thing. And so the idea is the hawk is going to go perch on the nut, or try to get the nut and fall in the jar, and then it can be safely trapped and then removed from our property or something like that. And so he does that, and this hawk is trying to, because hawks eat cats and chickens all the time. And so I'm kind of trying to deal with that, and the hawk won't go away. And at some point I kick the hawk in the chest, like flying through the air, ah, and hit it in the chest, because it won't go away, and it keeps attacking. It tried to attack me, it tried to attack my cats, so I kicked the motherfucker. And so that went away. We think we're all safe, and I'm just chilling in the backyard, and my mom is in the house, in the kitchen, cooking. My dad isn't in the dream. My brother is in the house somewhere. and then one of my sisters is in the dream, and she comes out and like goes back in and does that a few times. And then I'm playing on the monkey bars, and then right in front of me on the monkey bars too is a bear cub. And I'm like, oh fuck. And it starts to try to attack me. It like puts its paw on me and tries to like grip, and so I try to maneuver in a certain way so I can get away from it, but its claws won't dig into me. And I think, well, there's usually at least two baby cubs, and also baby cubs mean mama bear, and so I get extra freaked out, and I I'm like trying to get away from this bear without interacting with it too much and causing a scene, so I can also get away from the baby bear and then get the fuck away before mama bear comes. But too late. So I get away from the baby bear. I'm scratched up a little bit, and I'm on top of the swing set. And here comes mama bear. And you know, brown bears are pretty fucking big, so she has no problem standing up, and then her head is about the same height as the top of the monkey bars. And so she's gonna kill me, and I start yelling, and I'm like yelling where the gun is in the house, and my sister comes out with my big ass handgun, and it's big enough to stop a bear. Um, at least if you like shoot it a couple times, and it's a semi-automatic one also, so it's anyway. So she's got the gun, and guns don't usually work in my dreams, but luckily it works fine. She's able to slide the action, and bop bop bop, and she shoots the bear, and I'm able to get away, but the bear still isn't down yet, because the bear is like, I can take a couple of shots before I'm totally done. And we were in such close quarters that it was in the throes of death, but it was still very aggressive, and still, I'm sure, wanting to protect its baby cubs. And even though didn't want anything to do with them, but it's like laying down, and then I'm starting to get off the swing set, and then out of nowhere this cougar comes, and the cougar's like prowling around, and then it's going to maybe attack me, but then decides not to. It's going to maybe attack my sister, but it decides not to. So we're more focused on the bear, but we're aware of the cougar. And I tell my sister, hey, you better shoot her too, or at least shoot at the cougar so she goes away. Because I had a very strong feeling. I'm like, I don't want to kill any of these animals. I was completely willing to kill the bear because it was absolutely actively trying to attack us. And the cougar, I was thinking maybe we could call Fish and Wildlife later, and they could shoot a dart in its ass and relocate it, or something, because it hadn't come to the point where it was actively attacking us, and we were far enough away to run through our door before we get away, and get away before it attacked us. So she shoots it, and then it's out of bullets, and then just when we realize it's out of bullets, I at the same time realize, oh wait, save your bullets, the bear is waking up. And the bear wakes up, and my sister, instead of running away, the bear is about to turn around and get me, but she yells at the bear and was like, hey motherfucker. And oh my gosh, I'm actually gonna cry, because this was like really fucked up and really gory, and it was just, there was a lot of sound effects, and she sacrifices herself to save my life. and the bear just like rips into her and kills her. And I'm able to run, and I go through the back door, and um, the bear has killed her, and then it is now running towards the back door to get me. And my cats are sitting in the back door, and I open it. I'm like, come on, get in, motherfuckers. And they're dumb. They're stupid fucking cats. And they're like, what? So I grab them by the scruff of the neck, toss it over my shoulder, grab the other one, toss it over my shoulder. And then I barely shut the door, the glass door, in time for the bear to not get us. And then my mom, I noticed my mom was still just cooking, completely ignoring everything. And that's when I got really angry at my parents, and my mom in particular, because she was there, for doing nothing, for just ignoring all of this crazy shit going on. And now my sister was dead, and she wasn't doing anything. Yeah, and that was that dream. I can kind of recognize why I had a dream like that, because before I went to bed, I was taking a bath, thinking about a lot of deep shit. I was thinking about my sisters, and I was actually thinking about the spirit of each of my sister, and how sometimes it seemed like my middle sister is really the big sister, in her toughness and her bareness, oddly enough. And then our actual oldest sister, although she's wise as an owl, she I don't know how to explain this, but we've gone through some things, and my parents, particularly my mother, wasn't really aware enough and wise enough to, and also she just ignored some very important shit that went down. So, and I was thinking about that a lot just before I went to bed. And I was thinking about how much I love my sisters. So I'm sure that's where that came from. Okay, this next dream that I had was amazing. I was in this place. Damn, my voice is really going. I was in this place that was like Gotham City. It was New York, but it was Gotham City, and it was like someplace I'd never been. It was like a Gotham City version of New York. It was modern times, but lots of vintage feel, maybe even with a steampunk gothic flair to everything, with just like a dash of old school Vegas circus stuff. It was beautiful. It was amazing, and it was fucking super dirty and chaotic though as well. And I was with my lover and one of their coworkers, and this particular coworker they're really good at negotiating, being calm in a chaotic environment, and fucking with people at just the right time and just the right way. And so my lover and their coworker were sitting down to play poker or something, and we were in this place that could be known as Central Park, I guess. And there were lots of very close picnic tables, and they were very crowded. I mean, you had to like squeeze in shoulder to shoulder with someone to get a spot at one of these tables. And all of the people there playing these games were all street punks, like super dirty, like pockmarked, drug-addled punks, like punk rockers. And they all had their studs and their jackets and their glue-spiked hair, and their homemade tattoos, and safety pins where jewelry might be, and and they were all just super sketchy. And I was wearing this weird thing. I was wearing like lime green shoes and this big giant coat slash bathrobe, and it was a leopard print. I looked like I belonged there, only I wasn't I wasn't dirty like all of these other kids were. Like, I was dressed pretty punk rock, but you could tell that I lived in a house and that I didn't live on the street like most of these kids did. And so, because of that, I had several people asking me for money and trying to fuck with me. I had a bunch of guys like try to kind of bully me, but also try to come on to me. And I was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And a lot of them were trying to intimidate me. And I was standing my ground pretty good. I'm very proud of my dream self. And my lover was mostly distracted from the game and was trying to just kind of protect me. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm holding my own. And so they wouldn't get distracted from the game. I decided to come and sit down by them. And so I sat down, and my lover and their coworker went back to the game. And this girl approached me and she said, "Hey, do you want to play a card game? Want to just like hang out and chill?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she starts dealing me some cards, and I get a joker, an ace, um, a queen, and I think that's it. I think there was 3 cards, and she's asking me, "What card do you most relate to, or what number do you most relate to?" And I told her 9, and then I'm looking at what she draws, and the first one was an ace, and I was like, "Oh, okay, isn't that card 0?" And she's looking at me like, "Oh, well, if you're kind of knowledgeable about this stuff, then I can't really scam you," was the look on her face. And then she's just like, and then she's like, "Well, I have to go." And she starts packing up her cards, and she holds out a box, and she goes, "You might as well tip me or something for my entertainment." And I was like, "Whoa, you asked me if you wanted to play a game with me." And like, I no. And because our interaction, she made it seem like she wanted to be friends, and like this wasn't like a street game or some kind of performance, or it wasn't asking for money. And she was very angry at that. And so then I got distracted. I saw this man, and he was in a black Carhartts type zip up one piece working man's like jumpsuit type of thing. And because it was pretty cold there too, the weather was harsh. And he had a metal lunch pail and buzzed hair, and he was very handsome and very tough looking, very worn looking. Like, he really looked like he had a really rough life. And I jog up next to him, and he looks at me through the like corners of his eyes, and he goes, "Thought that was you." And I was like, "I thought that was you." And this is wild, you guys. I remembered him from another dream. And in the dream, we remembered each other from another dream. And in this dream that I was remembering, we had almost had a romance. And it made me become lucid, and I was like, "Oh, I want to pursue this person and maybe have a romance again, or just at the very least see what happened to him." Because in before, when I remembered him, he was this artistic, easy to laugh, smiling young man with like dark, soulful eyes, instead of this really hardened, buzz cut, set, square jaw man that he was now. And he said, "Yeah, it's such a good thing that something about I can't remember the exact words, but he said it was such a good thing that he wouldn't allow us to be together because of what he had become. Um, and I also noticed that he had a couple of spots on his face that looked like, you know, like little marks that sometimes heavy drug users start to develop. And I think, yeah, I guess I say it, yeah, I would have nagged you to death seeing you go down this path, ha ha ha, and you would have died of my nagging before you could even die of drugs. I'm trying to make light of the obvious situation that he had become a heavy drug addict, and he now had a really miserable life. So he starts kind of like running away from me, and I'm like, no, wait a minute, come back. And for a second I think, wait a minute, my lover's here, and like, we're monogamous, I'm not gonna do this. And I kind of can't decide. I'm like, wait, this is a dream though, I'm pretty sure, so it doesn't matter, right? And I do that a lot, fairly often. There's a situation where I could like have some sort of relation with someone in a dream, but I can't quite decide if it really is a dream. And so thinking about my lover, I decide not to, because I can't decide for sure if it's a dream or not. But this time I think, nope, it's definitely a dream. So everything is cool. Everything is fine. And I don't have to have this sense of guilt or shame for doing this. So I decide that, and I start running after him. And he goes into this building, and there's this like spiral, it's a square spiral of stairs. And I'm running after him, and I'm like, hey, wait. And we're kind of like talking back and forth. We'll run, and then we'll both stop to catch our breath, and he's still one level ahead of me. And he'll look down, and we'll talk to each other, and I'm like, yeah, but, da, 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 da. And he's like, da, 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 da. And so I'm running and I'm running, and then I think he goes out of this rooftop door, and I'm like, he is leaps and bounds ahead of me at this point, because he's like 6.5 feet tall and I'm not. And he just went up the stairs really fast, and he left. And he wasn't running away from me because he wanted to get away. He was running away from me because he wanted to keep me away from himself and his darkness, and all that stuff. So I hear someone below me, and it's that punk rock woman that was asking for change and got really mad at me for telling her no. And she had a couple of friends, and she had been pursuing me, and she was like, aha, motherfucker, I got you now. And then I got more lucidity. And she was in this like evil Harley Quinn costume, like the old school one, not the new bullshit. And I think, no, you don't, because I'm in a dream and I'm controlling everything. And I think, okay, I don't want to lose this situation. I don't want to forget about this guy I'm pursuing, but I also need to stay calm, and I need to get away from this person, because they're going to suck my energy away, and they're going to make this dream terrible so that I have to wake up, or they're going to take my lucidity away. So I come to the top of the stair platform, and I'm looking for some sort of escape, and I'm just kind of making it happen in my mind. I'm like, okay, this is a lucid dream. I need this to happen. This is going to happen. And she's almost there, and I'm just very still trying to fight the fear, and I'm thinking, stay calm and just lucid your way out of this. And there's an elevator, and so I open the elevator door, and I shut it, and the elevator is going slow, so slow, and I'm trying to control it with my lucidity, and I'm thinking, how do I make this go faster? And it was really frustrating for a moment. So what I did was I put my hand on top of the roof and I pushed with all my might. I pushed the top of the elevator roof to make it go faster. And it did. And I've got to do that in lucid dreams. I just kind of have to work with it because I'm just not at the point where I can just go poofty and whatever happens, even if I am 100% lucid, which I was in this moment. So, working with my dream scene, I made the elevator go really, really fast and it goes ding, and I'm at the very top. And so, I do another like dream magic trick and I open up the back of the elevator where there wasn't a door, it was a wall. And I open it up and there is this just the top of the city. It's so fucking beautiful. And I had to pause for a moment, even though she's right on the tail and she's right about to open the elevator door and grab me. Even then, even so, I had to just stop and marvel at the city at night and all of the lights and the beauty. And I think, oh, this could turn into one of those dreams where I just fly over the scenery. That's really cool. And I look down at the ledge, and I don't like roller coasters. I don't like that dip feeling you get at all. And it's something I've really, really had to work on in my dreams to not wake up from, or to not lose my lucidity, or like just straight up not take that action because I hate that feeling. So I kind of hesitate. I'm like, oh God, it's going to give me that stomach drop feeling. Oh, and the other part of my brain is thinking, get Nike and just fucking do it. Just do it. So I step to the ledge and I spread my arms and I go, here we go. And the elevator door on the other side opens up and the bad guys are there. And I jump and I soar around and I go flying around. And then I drop down into this place where there's like this outdoor speakeasy. And the streets are super, super crowded with all kinds of strange characters from, you know, this Gotham-like city. And there's a stage, and there's those round, yellow, vintage outdoor string lights everywhere. And there's this tiny, tiny stage. And on it, there's this fat lady in a seashell, and she's singing beautiful songs. I wish I would have paid more attention to it so I could have remembered it, but I was focused on my mission. And I thought, oh, I'm going to play on stage. I'm going to perform with this lady. And she is singing in her seashell. And then all of a sudden I have this huge wig on. It looks like the wig that Christina Aguilera is wearing in the Moulin Rouge music video. Only like 4 times as big. It was ridiculous. It was great. And then it also had this like weird spike structure, there's seashells all over it, and then I had a mermaid costume with all of this fringe on it, and then I realized I'm in a cool, freaky, burlesque costume. And then I look around, I'm like, all right, this is a burlesque performance. And I love performing in my dreams. I love dancing in my dreams. I'm still 100% lucid, and I start dancing. And I notice that moving around is kind of hard, which happens fairly often when I'm in my dreams, especially if I'm in a dancing dream. Movement and my motor skills become really hard because my waking life body is asleep, and my brain that controls all that part, so I won't thrash around and hurt myself at night, is shut down. So there's like this conflict inside this dream of I can't move my body like I'm used to because part is shut down for safety, but I'm very consciously aware of where I am and that I want to move. So it's very clumsy, very strange, like moving through water. And that makes me remember the lucidity again. It like refreshes. I knew that I was lucid, but I momentarily got frustrated because I couldn't I couldn't dance right, and that was making me lose lucidity. The frustration was. And so I thought, hang on, just chill and do the best you can. That part of your brain is shut down right now because your body is asleep. So just do the best you can, all right? And I was like, oh yeah. So I calmed down, the frustration went away. I finished my performance with the fat lady, and we had really good energy interacting with each other. And then from the stage, there was this little shack, and it was like an opium den type of thing with little teeny tiny compartments for people to take prostitutes in or to just trip in by themselves. And it was a pretty cheap place for like kind of people with not very much money that were addicted but still into that kind of scene. And I see the man that I was chasing, and he looks much worse than he had before. But still, I was like, fuck it. I want to try this. So I hop off stage and I run to him. I'm in my mermaid costume. And I say, hey, I found you. And he's kind of doped up on opium, and he's like, no, like, go away. You can't be here. This isn't good for you. And I don't know. I think I say something like, this is my dream and I don't care. This is what I want right now. So I think I even asked him, I was like, have you ever fucked a mermaid? I was joking because I was in a mermaid costume. I was like, huh? I was just trying to get him to laugh and just trying to lighten up. And he just kind of gives up. He's like, fuck it. And then he lets me hug him. And so then when we lay on the floor on this place, just like hugging each other. And then I woke up. Yeah, that was my dream. It was super awesome that I had so much lucidity. It's been a while since I got to 100% lucidity. I had a really hard time sleeping last night because I'm in a great deal of pain. I feel terrible right now. And let's see, I took Paul Stamets destress mushroom complex. You can get those at the store. I'm not talking like psychedelic mushrooms. It's a nutritional mushroom supplement for de-stressing. I also took St. John's wort. There was something else I took too, but I can't remember. I think I took galantamine, and earlier in the day, I had a very small amount of a different kind of mushrooms for microdosing purposes for mood. So it was a small enough amount that when I took it early in the day, I didn't feel anything but a slight elevation in my mood. And everything else I took right before bed. Yeah, so that's it. Oh, ashwagandha. I took I think 600 milligrams of ashwagandha. Those were my supplements. All right, this was a really long one, as I knew it would be. But it was really good dreams. You can find me on Instagram at beneath.the.roses. And Beneath the Roses has a period between each word. And you can also find my tarot card bath bombs at thefizzwizard.com, or just send me a message or give me a comment here, and I'd be happy to help you. And of course, if you had any dreams, please leave them in the comments. Obviously, I'm obsessed with dreams, and I would love to hear them. Bye.